In this video, we're going to talk about how to use Armitage in order to pivot our attacks to an internal network. Basically, the idea is that we've gone ahead and we've attacked one machine somehow, whether that be an email that was sent, a malicious website that somebody clicked on, a USB drive that was dropped in the parking lot, or even a full-blown website attack. Somehow we've gotten into the environment, and now that we're on one machine, we want to pivot to the other machines. So, a little bit of background about what we have here. We are out here in this backtrack machine right here, and this Windows Server 2003 machine has been published via port 80 out to the internet. In a prior video, we actually used a WebDAV vulnerability to compromise this machine. So we now own this machine from a hacking perspective. Now that we own that machine, now that we are on that machine and we are full-blown admins, what we want to do now is we want to pivot our attack from that machine onto these other machines on the internal network. Great thing about this internal network, this is what's called a trusted network. So from a hacker's point of view, this is awesome. Since it's trusted, that means less secure. If it's less secure, then that means the effort that we went through in order to own the one web server is probably the hardest thing we're going to be doing all day. The rest of it is going to be a piece of cake at this point, because the hard hacks, the hard attacks are not necessary anymore now, because it's trusted. And since it's trusted, we should be able to, assume that it's working perfectly fine from a security standpoint. So what we're going to do is go into our Kali machine here. We already have owned this one machine. Like I said, in a prior video, we did this. What I want to do now that I own this machine is I want to scan to see what other machines are on that network. Maybe I know, maybe I don't know. So I'm going to go ahead and right click on it, go into Interpreter, and I want to do an ARP scan. It says, okay, here's the network that I see on this host. They ARP scan, and it goes ahead and it runs that scan for me. I didn't necessarily even need to know the commands to do an ARP scan, but it's just doing a scan across that entire network. See, so far it found one host. It should be finding about 3 more. So we're running a little bit longer than normal. And there we go. So now they're starting to show up. So the scan took a little bit longer than I expected, but it seems to be coming through here shortly. So there should be a couple more machines showing up. We'll go ahead and we'll let those run in the background. What I'm going to do, however, as I'm setting this up, or as I'm waiting for the ARP scan to run, is I'm going to set up my pivot. Now a pivot essentially is a routing table. If you're familiar with Cisco or other routers, the idea is that I want to go to a different network, and so I'm going to go through a router. In this case, I want to set up this host that I've already attacked as my router. So for that, I'm going to go to Interpreter and just set up pivoting right there. Pivoting setup, and it says, great. Add a pivot. So basically for the 192.168.1.0/24 network, route through this host. And so I do that, it adds the route. And we can see if I drag this host around here, it kind of shows me what the route may look like. What the routes may look like. In order to get to 1.175 or 1.1 or 1.100, I have to go through 1.1. Awesome. So now that my pivoting is set up, now it's just a matter of attacking those internal machines. First off, scanning them to find out what information is on them, and then attacking them. Let's see. First off, I'm going to change my exploit rank to poor, just so I can use all of the available updates to me. And I'm going to highlight all of these machines here. Control click in order to select multiples. And I'm going to right click scan. Same scan that we ran on the host, on the red host there, right before we attacked it. This is now doing a scan on all 4 of those hosts. In theory, you would only actually want to target one machine, whichever machine you actually wanted to target in this case. I just want to see all of them, so I'm selecting all of them and running the scan. If you are a hacker or a pen tester, you probably don't want to do this because it kind of gives away your activities. So this process will run for a couple of minutes, and we'll go ahead and fast forward until it's done. All right, and thanks to the power of video editing, scan only took a few seconds for you while you're watching. However, you can actually see down here in the output of Armitage, or of Metasploit, however you want to call it, the scan took almost 6 minutes. All right, well, let's go ahead and continue attacking. Now that we've started our pivot to the inside environment, let's go ahead and continue to attack the rest of the environment. Let's see, I'm going to go ahead and just go to attacks, find attacks. This is the power of Armitage here. It finds all the attacks for me. I then just have to pick from them. Happy hunting. All right, so which system shall we attack first? Let's try the .200. Now, if I hover over this, I know that this is specifically a Server 2008 machine, which gives me a little bit of knowledge about what kinds of attacks I can use. In this case, I'm going to go to an SMB attack, specifically the MS09 SMB attack. All of these options up here are perfectly fine. I do want to do a reverse connection, so we'll let that attack continue. Additionally, let's go ahead and choose 175. So, by the way, the machine I'm on right now is 100. That's this red one up here. .1 is the router, so 175 is another one that I want to attack. So let's go ahead and attack that one. Oh, I missed a step. Hover over it. Tells me it's XP SP2. There we go. That should tell me what my favorite attack to choose from is. So attacks, and again I want an SMB attack because it's trusted network. I can use these SMB attacks, and I want the MS087 reverse connection, and hopefully that one will be exploited out. So there you have it. From a security engineer standpoint, the fact that this was quite so easy tells me what I need to do is make sure that there are no weak links in the entire security chain. Pretty much any one weak link in the chain causes the whole system to go down. And we saw that just by exploiting one machine, we were able to quickly and easily pivot to all the other machines in the organization. I could try to go ahead and attack the firewall, as well as, well, this machine, like I said, is actually the machine I'm on right at this moment, so that one didn't necessarily be beneficial to attack. But by attacking one machine, the pivot setup was a piece of cake. It was literally a right-click, interpreter, pivoting setup, and that's all it took. So from a security engineer standpoint, every single piece needs to maintain security. Additionally, possibly putting additional firewalls in this environment, such as a firewall right in front of each of these hosts, would be good to do. So firewalls. Disable services. Did SMB need to be running on all those machines that I just attacked using SMB? Updates. Make sure all the updates are installed on your machines as quickly as possible. Not just the critical ones, all updates. What wasn't critical 6 months ago may become critical today. If you've installed them previously, then you don't even have to worry about it. And then lastly, look to segment your network. If the different server environments were segmented entirely from each other, such as a full-blown firewall between the various server segments, that would further make the systems more difficult to use. And then, of course, pen test. Pen test yourself. Watch these videos on YouTube, whether they're mine or somebody else's, and see how to pen test, and then see if you can do it in your environment. Definitely be careful whenever you're actually exploiting any machines, since the exploits may cause negative side effects. So as a security engineer, these are all things you can do to make sure that your system is secure. As a hacker or a pen tester, well, hopefully this shows just how easy it actually is. You don't have to be an expert in these pen testings in order to get these processes down. The only difference you may have is, the specific vulnerabilities. For instance, I used an MS08067 net API vulnerability. Your system probably is not going to be vulnerable to that, but the process was still the same. It's just a different vulnerability. All right, so that is how we can use Armitage in order to pivot our attacks to internal networks to further exploit the additional machines in our environment. I hope this information has been helpful for you, and stay secure.